Welcome to the world of science fiction where extraordinary tales come to life. Enjoy the journey. The docking bay of Nix-9 station smelled like burnt wiring and stale oxygen. Kael Veyra leaned against his battered freighter, the star moth, chewing on a protein bar that tasted like cardboard. He'd been waiting 3 hours for his cargo clearance, and the delay was eating into his profit margin. Then he saw them. 3 figures moved through the neon-lit haze of the bay, their steps perfectly synchronized. They wore sleek black bodysuits with silver veins that pulsed like living circuitry. Their skin was a deep violet, their eyes glowing amber, unnervingly identical. Clones, Kael thought. The rumors were true. The tallest one stopped in front of him. "You are Kael Veyra," she said, her voice cool. "No question, just fact." Kael swallowed. "Depends on who's asking." "We require your ship," the second one said. The third remained silent, scanning the bay like a predator. Kael laughed. "The Star Moth's a junk hauler, not a luxury liner." "Why me?" The leader, Zara, he'd later learn, tilted her head. "You are discreet, and your route aligns with our needs." She pressed a credit chip into his palm. The number on it made his breath hitch. "This is a one-way trip to Andromeda's Veil," Kael warned. "No refunds if you change your mind." The 3 exchanged a glance. "We do not change our minds," Zara said. As they boarded, Kael noticed something odd. Zara lingered behind, her fingers brushing the ship's rusted hull. "You care for this vessel," she murmured. "She's all I've got," Kael admitted. Zara's lips curved, just slightly. "Loyalty is rare." Then she followed her sisters inside, leaving Kael with a knot of unease. Who, or what, had he just agreed to ferry across the galaxy? The Star Moth hummed as it cut through the void, its engines a steady pulse beneath Kael's boots. 4 days into the journey, and the Triad, Zara, Vex, and Nix, had barely spoken. They moved like shadows, their identical faces unreadable, their glowing amber eyes always watching. Kael tried to ignore them. He focused on the ship, tightening loose panels and recalibrating the hyperdrive. But every time he turned around, one of them was there, silent, studying him. Then on the 5th night, everything changed. The first crack in the mirror. Kael was in the galley, choking down another bland nutrient pack, when Zara appeared in the doorway. The others were asleep, or whatever passed for sleep among clones. "You are restless," she observed. Kael snorted, hard to relax with 3 living statues judging my every move. Zara didn't smile, but something flickered in her eyes. "You are different from what we expected." "Yeah, what did you expect?" She hesitated. Then, in a voice so quiet he barely heard it, "A tool, not a man." Kael froze. That wasn't something a hive mind clone should say. Before he could respond, Zara stepped closer. "You must listen carefully. My sisters do not know I am speaking to you." Kael's pulse spiked. "Why?" "Because I am not like them." Her fingers twitched, as if fighting an invisible restraint. "They share one mind. I do not." The confession hung between them, dangerous as a live wire. The Brink Ravagers close in. A proximity alarm shattered the silence. Kael bolted to the cockpit, Zara right behind him. The scanners showed a ship, jagged, armored, bristling with weapons, closing fast. "Brink Ravagers," Zara hissed. "They hunt us." "Why?" Kael yanked the controls, veering the Star Moth into an asteroid field. "The artifact we carry." Zara's voice was steel. "It can rewrite reality. They want it." Plasma fire streaked past the view screen. The ship rocked violently. "Evasive maneuvers won't work," Kael gritted out. "We need a plan." Zara's hand clamped over his wrist. "Trust me." Then she did the unthinkable. She smiled, just for him. "And know this. If it comes to it, I will protect you, not the mission." The Ravager's ship loomed closer. Somewhere behind them, Vex and Nyx stirred, their synchronized voices cold with warning. Zara's secret and Kael's survival hung in the balance. The Starmoth shuddered as another plasma blast rocked its hull. Warning lights flashed across the cockpit, painting Kael's face in frantic red. "Shields at 30%. He barked, hands gripping the controls. Zara stood beside him, her violet skin bathed in the glow of the emergency lights. "They will not stop," she said, her voice low. "Not until they have the key." Kael risked a glance at her. "Then maybe you should tell me what the hell it actually is." A beat of silence. Then Zara reached into a hidden compartment on her belt and pulled out a small pulsating crystal. It glowed with an eerie inner light, shifting between colors like a trapped storm. "The key of souls," she murmured, "forged by the first of my kind. It can reshape minds, bend wills. In the wrong hands, it could turn entire worlds into puppets." Kael's stomach dropped. "And your people just let you carry this around?" Zara's jaw tightened. "We were never meant to let it fall." But there was a betrayal. A faction of our own, the Brink Ravagers, stole it. We took it back. Now they hunt us. Another explosion rattled the ship. The Ravager vessel loomed larger on the view screen, its jagged hull blotting out the stars. Nyx's voice crackled over the comms. "They are preparing to board." Vex added, "We must defend the key at all costs." Zara's fingers brushed Kael's arm. "There is another way," she whispered. "The key responds to emotion, to choice. If I use it—" "No." Kael grabbed her wrist. "You don't even know what it'll do to you." Her amber eyes burned into his. "I know I cannot let them have it." Then the ship jolted. Metal screeched as a boarding clamp locked onto the airlock. The Ravagers were coming. And Zara was already moving toward them, the key glowing brighter in her palm. The battle begins. The first Ravager burst through the door, a hulking brute with cybernetic limbs and eyes like black pits. He raised a plasma rifle. And Zara moved. She was a blur of violet and silver, disarming him before he could fire. The key flared in her hand, and the Ravager screamed, clawing at his head, as if something inside him were tearing free. Kael didn't have time to process it. More Ravagers poured in. Vex and Nyx fought like machines, their movements perfectly synchronized. But Zara, she fought like herself. Wild, unpredictable, alive. Kael grabbed a wrench from the wall and swung at a Ravager's skull. The man crumpled, but another took his place. "Zara," Kael shouted, "we can't hold them off forever." She turned to him, the key's light reflecting in her eyes. "Then we don't." And she slammed the crystal into the ship's control panel. The Starmoth's systems screamed. Lights flickered. The gravity failed for a terrifying second before surging back. And then, silence. The Ravagers froze. Their weapons clattered to the floor. Their leader, a woman with scarred cheeks, clutched her head. What did you do?" she gasped. Zara's voice was steel. "I showed you the truth. The key doesn't just control minds, it frees them." The Ravagers stumbled back, their eyes wide with something Kael hadn't expected, horror, as if they'd just woken from a nightmare. One of them whispered, We were made to want this. We didn't choose." Then Vex's voice cut through the air. "Zara." Kael turned. Vex and Nyx stood at the doorway, their expressions identical. Cold. Betrayed. "You used the key," Vex said. "You diverged." Nyx's fingers twitched toward her weapon. "That is treason." Zara met their gaze. "No," she said softly. "It's freedom." And in that moment, Kael realized. This wasn't just a fight against the Ravagers anymore. It was a fight for Zara's soul. The air inside the Star Moth grew thick with tension. The Brink Ravagers lay unconscious, their minds shattered by the key's power. But the real danger stood before Kael, Vex and Nyx, their amber eyes locked onto Zara with icy precision. "You were always flawed," Vex said, her voice devoid of emotion. The Tricom warned us about deviations. Nyx drew a slender blade from her sleeve. The mission requires purity. You are corrupted. Zara didn't back down. The key still pulsed in her hand, its light casting eerie shadows across her face. I'm not corrupted, she said. I'm awake. Kael stepped between them, wrench still clutched in his grip. She's not your enemy. Vex's gaze flicked to him. You are irrelevant. Then, faster than Kael could react, Nyx lunged. A fight for survival. The blade grazed Zora's shoulder before she twisted away, her movements fluid where her sister's were rigid. She countered with a kick that sent Nyx stumbling, but Vex was already moving in perfect sync, striking low while Nyx recovered. Kael swung the wrench at Vex's side. She dodged effortlessly, backhanding him into the control panel. Pain exploded across his ribs. Kael, Zara shouted. He barely had time to register the warning before Nyx was on him, her fingers closing around his throat. His vision darkened at the edges. Then Zara screamed, not in pain, but in fury. The key in her hand flared, a shockwave of light rippling through the ship. Nyx gasped, her grip loosening. Vex froze mid-step, her face twisting in confusion. Zara's voice was raw. You don't have to do this. The Tricom programmed you, but you can choose. For the first time, hesitation flickered in Vex's eyes. Nyx's fingers trembled around Kael's neck. The mission is all we are. Zara stepped closer, the key's glow reflecting in her sister's eyes. No, it's all they told you you were. A heartbeat passed. Then, Vex's blade clattered to the floor. The fractured triad. Nyx released Kael, stumbling back as if burned. What? What is this? Vex pressed a hand to her temple. I hear voices. Not just the triads. Mine. Zora exhaled shakily. The key doesn't just control minds. It unlocks them. Kael coughed, rubbing his throat. So you just freed them? Zara nodded. I showed them what I saw. That we were never just tools. Vex looked at Nyx, then at Zara. For the first time, their expressions weren't identical. Vex's brow furrowed. Nyx's lips parted in something like awe. You betrayed the Tricom, Vex whispered. Zara smiled faintly. No, I outgrew them. Silence stretched. Then, slowly, Vex bent and picked up her blade. But she didn't raise it. Instead, she sheathed it. We will not stop you, she said, but we cannot follow. Nyx added, voice softer, not yet. Zara's shoulders sagged in relief. That's enough. Kael pushed himself upright, wincing. So what now? Zara turned to him. Now we run. The escape. The Star Moth's engines groaned as Kael punched in coordinates for the farthest system he knew. Elysian's Rim, a lawless edge of the galaxy where the Tricom's reach was thin. Vex and Nyx stood at the airlock, watching as Zara shouldered a small pack. You could come with us, Zara offered one last time. Nyx shook her head. We need to understand what we are now. But we will not report you. Vex's voice was quiet. Go, before we change our minds. Zara hesitated, then clasped each of their forearms in a warrior's grip. Find your own path, sisters. Then the airlock sealed, separating them for what might be the last time. As the Star Moth hurtled into the void, Kael let out a shaky breath. You sure about this? They could still turn on us. Zara slid into the co-pilot's seat, her fingers brushing his. They won't. He arched a brow. That confidence better not just be the key talking. Her laugh was the most human sound he ever heard from her. No, it's me. And as the stars blurred into hyperspace, Kael realized. He believed her. The Star Moth emerged from hyperspace with a shudder, its battered frame groaning as Elysian's Rim filled the view screen, a swirling nebula of crimson and gold, dotted with derelict stations and rogue asteroid outposts. The perfect place to disappear. Kael exhaled, his fingers loosening on the controls. "We made it." Zara didn't answer. She stood at the cockpit's viewport, her violet skin bathed in the nebulous glow, her expression unreadable. "You okay?" Kael asked. She turned to him, her amber eyes brighter than he'd ever seen them. "I have never been okay before. Not like this." A pause. Not free. Something warm curled in Kael's chest. He reached for her hand. And the proximity alarm blared. Shadows in the crimson. A ship materialized from the nebulous haze, sleek, obsidian, its hull marked with the Tricom's insignia. Kael's blood ran cold. "They followed us." Zara's fingers tightened around his. No, they were waiting. A transmission crackled through the comms. A voice, smooth and lethal. "Zara 7. You are in violation of Directive 0. Surrender the key, and your sentence may yet be commuted." Kael shot her a look. "Zara, what now?" Her jaw clenched. "My designation. Before I chose my name." The ship's weapons powered up, targeting locks humming. Kael swore, hands flying over the controls. "We can't outrun that thing. Not in this state." Zara didn't move. "Then we don't run." The key's final secret. She pulled the key from its pouch. It pulsed in her palm, its light deepening to a molten gold. Kael stared. "You're not seriously." "The key doesn't just free minds," she said softly. "It remakes them." Her gaze locked onto his. "I can use it. On them." His stomach dropped. "At what cost?" Zara smiled. Sad, fierce. "Maybe my life. Maybe my soul. But I won't let them cage me again." The Tricom ship fired. The Star Moth rocked violently, consoles exploding in sparks. Kael grabbed Zara as the artificial gravity failed, yanking her into the corridor before the cockpit collapsed. "No." He gripped her shoulders. "There's another way." She cupped his face. "This is the way." But first, she kissed him. Not gentle, not hesitant, claiming, like she was memorizing the feel of him. When she pulled away, the key's light had spread through her veins, glowing beneath her skin. "You were meant for me alone," she whispered. "Remember that." Then she shoved him into the escape pod, the light that burned the dark. Kael slammed against the pod's interior as it ejected, the Star Moth shrinking in the view screen. He screamed her name. And then the universe flared. The key's power erupted in a wave of gold, engulfing the Tricom ship. For a heartbeat, it hung there, illuminated like a dying star. Then the light contracted, and the ship changed. Its obsidian hull lightened to silver, its weapons retracted. And when the comms crackled again, the voice that spoke was no longer cold. "We remember." Kael's breath caught. The Tricom ship turned, its engines flaring, not in pursuit, but in retreat. And floating amidst the wreckage of the Star Moth was Zara, alive. Herself. Epilogue. A new dawn. The escape pod's oxygen was running low when she found him. Kael didn't care. He hauled her inside, crushing her against him, his voice raw. "Never do that again." Zara laughed, weak but alive, her glow fading to a soft hum. "I had to try." "You succeeded," he breathed. She rested her forehead against his. "Not just me. We did." Beyond the pod, the nebula burned crimson and gold. Somewhere out there, the Tricom would regroup. The Ravagers would lick their wounds. But for now, they were free. And as Kael kissed her again, Zara knew. She had chosen exactly where she belonged.